Christy McMillan, Jim Herzig, what a run he's had here. 4 checkered flags today, but now we've got all the preliminaries out of the way, Gary, and everybody's waiting for the big race that's coming up next. It's the 25-lap World Championship. That's why everybody's here today.
You're right. You know, even I'm starting to get a little pumped up here myself, and I haven't raced it in a few years, but yeah, I mean, this is what it's all about, the World's Championship race. These guys have been preparing for this race since this time last year.
What goes into the driver's psyche right now is that they're coming out of their trailers and getting on their sleds, and they're waiting for the grooming to be finished. What are these guys thinking about as they get ready to come out on the track?
They're all trying to put together a plan. What am I going to do in the first corner? What am I going to do to avoid the bumps? How do I avoid the dirt on the racetrack? Because that's going to be a factor that we're starting to run into here. Unfortunately, everyone pulls up that starting line with a plan. That plan just gets blown all the way when that green flag drops and they hit into that first corner, because what they had planned to do, normally they're not in that position or whatever, so they've got to, you know, then it's just all out racing.
And this race really, it's an endurance race. I mean, it's not, if you're leading on the first 2 laps, it's really not going to mean much come lap 25.
No, it's highly unlikely that the guy leading the first lap here or the first 5 laps is going to be the guy that's going to win the race. There's a lot of veterans out there, and these veterans have been here, they've been in this position so many times that I think you're going to see maybe a Dave Wahl just sit back a little bit and, you know, just take a look at everything and then make his charge towards the end. He's got to take, the unfortunate thing is right now, he's got all these young guys out there racing against him. These guys can go from start to finish. So, you know, it's something that they all are guessing right now. Whether they guess right or wrong, we won't know until the checkered flag drops here in 25 laps from now.
And there will actually be 3 Wahls in the race coming up.
Yeah, they seem to be taking over this, you know, a Shane Wahl. I think it's Shane Wahl that's in with them, and he doesn't run out of the same shop as Dave and Terry do, but he's from Greenbush, Minnesota, and he has that racing background. He'll also be a factor.
All right, and coming up after the timeout, we're going to talk about Dermont Wahl, the crew chief of the Wahls, at least for Terry and Dave anyway, and what a job he's done. He's been here for 30 of these 35 years that this race has been run. We're going to hear from Dermont Wahl coming up after this, but right now we're going to take another timeout. You are watching the hottest sleds on ice, live from Eagle River, Wisconsin. Time for another local station break. We'll be back after this. And welcome back to Eagle River, Wisconsin. Governor Tommy Thompson on hand, and he actually just addressed the crowd moments ago. We're going to trying to interview the governor on this program. Don't know for sure if he's going to cooperate with that. He probably has a busy schedule, but hopefully we will get him. And actually, I'm being told right now that Christy McMillan does have Governor Tommy Thompson. So, sorry, Gary, I'm going to throw right to Christy. Christy?
All right, thanks a lot, Dave. Joining me now is the governor of Wisconsin, Tommy Thompson. And Tommy, what are you thinking of the races here at Eagle River so far?
The races here are the best in the country. And, of course, this is the World Championship, and this is the 35th anniversary, and it's just another wonderful day. Look at the tremendous crowd and the great participation in the competitive sport. We have sportsmen and racers here from not only the United States and a lot of states, but also Canada, and it's going to have some great races at 2:30.
Yes, a very prestigious event here at Eagle River, the 35th anniversary of it. But not only does it do a great job here at the track, but what a job it does for the whole community of Eagle River.
Oh, it really does. It brings in so much. The population excels, and the people that spend money up here in northern Wisconsin really helps out. The snow came at the right time. We had a bad time as far as snow this winter, but now it came, and it's just great.
Yeah, it's actually been snowing since we got here earlier on in the week. Now, the World Championship race is next. Any predictions that you might have?
Well, no. All I can hoping for as governor is that somebody from Wisconsin wins.
All right, thank you very much for joining us. Governor of Wisconsin, Tommy Thompson, joining us now. We're going to go back up to Dave.
All right, thanks a lot, Christy. Governor Tommy Thompson on hand and enjoying the racing like everybody else here. And I'll tell you what, there's going to be some excitement coming up with the 25-lap World Championship. We were talking about it earlier, about the Wahls and the tradition that they have kind of established for themselves here at Eagle River. A big part of that has been Dermont Wahl, who has been the man in the trailer, the man behind the scenes.
The fox. I mean, you know, Dermont, he just sits in the background, but when it comes time to tune these sleds, he's been through every obstacle out there. He's done it all. He's been there. He's seen this temperature. He's seen the minuses, the pluses, and stuff. So if you want anybody working on your sled, Dermot Wall's the man.
And Dermot doesn't really like to do interviews, but somehow Jim Buchholz was able to talk him into sitting down and having a little conversation.
So Dermot, how long have you been working on these machines?
Well, I've been doing it most of my life. I guess about 30 years, 35 years, something like that.
How'd you get into snowmobiles?
Oh, I grew up 20 miles from Blair's. And on the other side of me is Articat, which is 40 miles from me right now. So I'm right in between them two. So we run Skidoos.
How have you evolved into what they are now?
I would say mostly the suspensions in them, you know, is what's made the big change. In the old days, everything used to be like a leaf spring, you know. They ride real rough and not decent shocks on them.
Now, like the carburetor system in these, what's unique about them? Or?
Well, everything is, just about everybody runs Mikuni carburetors. They got a flat slide carburetor and a round slide. And we run the round slides, and you're limited to the bore size in them.
Okay.
On these here, you can run like a 39.5 millimeter bore. On our championship sleds, that's 34 millimeter. It's got to be a stock carburetor.
Clutching, that's a big problem with most?
Not a big problem. It takes a lot to get everything right, you know.
So what goes wrong with these things?
When you're building them, you got to build them with the right compression ratio. That's a big thing. Too much compression, you have a lot of trouble with them. We don't run a lot of compression. We run a little higher RPM. We can run a leaner jet in them and let them rev. That makes a little better engine.
So everything has to get torqued just right?
Everything is torqued to perfection.
So what happens? You get it set up and then you test it, and like then you trust your driver to tell you how it's handling, right?
The driver does that, yeah.
And then you
just talk it over and we make the changes, what's got to be done.
And who wins it? You or the driver mostly?
The driver will.
He will? He's the boss?
He's got to drive it.
What's different about coming to Eagle River and racing?
I don't know. I guess it's been one of these races that have been around forever, you know, and it's something that everybody wants to win. We've been lucky enough to win it 3 times.
And Dermot Wahl probably pulling some hairs out of his head after the last race when Dave couldn't get his sled to start. I'm sure he probably takes that a little bit personally when something like that happens.
Yeah, he does, but it doesn't seem to bother him. I mean, he'll go through that, and then he moves on. Now his thoughts are with the World Championship race, and he's got 2 sleds in it. So, you know, he'll concentrate on that now.
And we are awaiting the sleds to come out here for the World Championship final. It's going to be 12 sleds in the 25-lap race, and it's going to be an exciting one now. As a former world champion, we talked about what it's all about, but talk about your experience and what it means to, on a personal level, to take a world championship here.
Well, it's like... It is our Super Bowl of snowmobile racing, and you almost have that feeling that you cannot retire unless you have a world championship. You know, it's one of those things that your career is not complete unless you have won one down here. And I tried many times before I finally won one, and then I tried a couple times after, and it just didn't come back.
And then, of course, they re-groom the track during the timeout. That's, of course, why we're filling some time here waiting for the race. How important is the grooming for the Champ 440 sleds that we're going to see here, the single-track sleds?
It's very important. These guys pulling out, these 12 guys that are going to pull out onto the racetrack are going to race this track as much as they're going to race their competitors. You can see the hole starting. You can see the dirt starting to come through a little bit. The snow dust will build up and get bad. Your main competitor here is the racetrack.
And the man who runs the whole thing, Chuck Decker, is also a former world champion. Let's hear his thoughts on what it means to take a world championship here at Eagle River.
I don't know. I won the world championship in 1987, and it puts you into a group of people that's so elite that the list of drivers impressive drivers that have never won a championship is as credible as the list of drivers who have won. So it just puts you into the elite of all snowmobile racing to finally win a world championship. So it's the feeling that goes with it is words can't describe.
And Chuck Decker says